أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Welcome to last meeting of this Ramadan. Continuing to read from Imam Nursi's treatise on the miraculousness of the Quran. It's a long treatise and it has a lot of insights, and we're trying to gather as much as we are able to understand and implement, inshallah. So, did anyone want to share anything from last class?
I can, if no one wants to share.
Yes.
So as I just listened today, last week's our recording, mashallah, it was a great reminder that we're talking about Quran and its nice qualities and its different aspects. But first, even reading our Allah's and Creator's message, we sometimes have to first check what is my perception, where am I standing, like am I in the correct position, because I know like a lot of things now, I want to learn more, not like that. And we have to start like we are like Allah is the all-knowing, Allah is the Rahman, Rahim, and then all beautiful names, and then we are in front of his message like that, and checking this where our position is, I think it's very good, because last week one of the keys are reminded like we need humility to start to be beneficial for us, because we are really powerless and we don't know what's going to happen even 1 minute or 1 hour later. And how can we know everything about the meaning of this world, myself, everyone else, the feelings, all the creation? So it's very good key that it's reminded me that if I feel like in a car I'm lost, then I can check the GPS or the map, or ask people around, like ask for an address. So it's good that we are knowing that we don't know. So then we are looking more carefully and seek the advice of our Creator, because He knows, and we are really needy in this, all the information, all the knowledge, all the wisdom, everything about the creation and the meaning. So I like that part. Yamina Hocam, you reminded us the humility is the key. And also, I really liked Sarah at the end. She was summarizing and what she perceived and felt. And she said, even we start reading Quran in Ramadan, first, don't look at the page. Look at outside from the window. See the beautiful breeze, or too much wind these days here in this geography. It's like there's a powerful wind, like connection to the creation. Then you can connect to your Lord, your Allah, and so it's very good. Like you just don't start reading the page. Like connection is really needed. Like without Wi-Fi, we can't check much from the devices. It's the same thing. So thank you everyone for last week.
Thank you for sharing, Elif. So this emphasis on receptivity in us, and that starts with humility. One thing from, again, I had to look at it from the recording last class. One thing that stood out to me was the ego nafs wants to claim agency, and wants to claim agency to kind of to feel that it exists, it's there. But that claim is delusional. I mean, we have really nothing on our own. So so we can tell to that part of us, nafs, yes, you want agency, and your agency is in your surrender, accepting that you're actually totally dependent. That's where your urgency is. Yes, you have something to do, and that's to kind of yield your uh, imaginary, illusionary agency. Because I don't know if it spoke to me, because I do feel that the ego, my ego wants to have a share. I mean, what am I here for? Like everything is given. Am I just a flower? I don't have any agency. Yeah, your agency is to admit your agency. So that I thought that was a very helpful way of approaching my nafs. So inshallah, if there is anyone else who wants to make a connection to last class, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Jazakallah khair, Alif, for that reminder, because I didn't take notes, and it was helpful for me to be reminded of that. The notes, and I want to review these for myself first and foremost, because we talked, Dr. Yamina, mashallah, shared with us that, the purpose of the Quran, to reflect upon the Quran, is to make us more aware of the reality of what's happening at every moment, the truth of who we are, of everything being sent from an unseen world, from the unseen as a direct command onto us. And the more that we're aware that what's happening in every moment is from this unseen, infinite realm, this eternal realm, yet everything around us is so transient, it's just passing. The purpose of becoming aware more and more, slowly and slowly, is that our hearts get super soft. Our hearts soften by the reflections, by pausing and slowing down and noticing. And then Dr. Yamina was sharing that with a soft heart, compassion flows more freely. And when I'm in this state where compassion is just like, I love the word flowing. Like, it reminds me of like rivers or like bodies of water that are just flowing through me. And the truth is that every moment is transient, right? Like every moment is passing. So there's this constant flow, flow, flow. And if I'm intentional, and Dr. Yamina reminded us of intention, making intention, constantly renewing intention to become aware that we're just receiving, we're just constantly receiving amr, then our hearts will soften. And in the meantime, when we forget, because it requires a lot of patience, this process, this tarbiyah, this training, because you imagine how many years we've strengthened heedlessness, then slowly but surely we need to, at least have that much time to slowly train this new way of being. Lots of istighfar to yani, continue the flow, actually. So when we notice that we've stopped being in the flow, which is often for me, the good news is that intention alone is enough to be like, oh no, I intend to want my heart to feel this constant flow of rahmah from Ar-Rahman, because his rahmah encompasses everything, which is what we said at the end. Like, if we just go outside and we look up at the sky, if we just look up at you feel the breeze and you feel this direct command of be on your skin, on your heart. When you reflect on it, it softens, and then it allows awe to come into the body. And we talked about having that awe, like letting your body stay with that awe, delight in that awe. The body should learn to feel that awe, which then allows for inshirah sadr, chest expansiveness. And that expansiveness is a way of being that we've been talking about. Yani, we've been sort of visiting this language, and it's particularly meaningful for me in Ramadan always, because in the fasting state, Allah, from His mercy, opens up for us more opportunity to feel this expansive rahmah flowing in our being because we're withholding from distraction and food and focusing on trying more to focus at least on the Quran and being more aware. And we talked a lot about, and this is important because this is the whole purpose. The world is meant to be shaky and unstable, and it's created like that on purpose. And we can't find steadiness or stability in wanting things on earth to be stable. And I think it's so important to say that because around me, in my, friend circles, it's easy to hear people going into a state of panic because of the world affair. And so we talked about how to, like the hack, the Quranic teaching to get us out of that whispering of bringing us back to panic or chaos. And the only way is to stay in this expansive state of awe, remembering that there's a Rabb who is the owner of the universe, who is making things shake and making things stable by his will. And if we connect ourselves to that one, then inshallah rahman, we will be steadied and stable despite the shaking and the calamities which are promised and are unfolding. And we also just talked about, for a reminder for myself, dhikr. Like dhikr has to have a feeling that your body remembers. The body has to remember that new feeling that I'm trying to condition it to be in, to exist and to stay in a state of being. Once that feeling is familiar, then I come back to it with dhikr, with the word. I'm going to say, Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, and even when I forget, then Astaghfirullah should bring me straight back to the expansive state. And we talked about start with 100, then 500, then 1,000, and then inshallah, 10,000. At least 20 minutes, or, put a timer on so that or, inshallah, building the habit we talked about. So Dr. Yumin reminded us that it's not in the number, the karama is not in the number, but the goal, the intentions, because Allah rewards us from His mercy out of intention. So if we can renew our intention, and there's barakah in the jama'ah, so that we're together, we're talking about it, we're reminding ourselves every week, because I already completely forgot about it by the following Sunday. It was easy to remember, Monday, Tuesday, but then Wednesday feels like a whole month passed, Thursday. So inshallah, when we all get on it, when we all get on this momentum of really wanting to change our way of being, will actually vibrate on a higher level. Our words will change, our feelings will change, and inshallah, we become bi'idhnillah, bi'idhn rahman, lighthouses, radiating that way of being to others. Inshallah is the intention.
Thank you, Jazakumullah khair, Sarah. And with that, inshallah, we can continue onwards in the treatise and start reading from the beginning of page 401. Thus onwards. Who would like to read?
I can read, inshallah.
Go ahead, Yusra.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So I'm starting at thus?
Yeah.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thus, of the hundreds of jewels of these verses, which constitute a series of truths, we have briefly explained only a single jewel of the Quran's manner of exposition in the category of giving to understand and silencing in argument. If I had had the power and shown a few more jewels, you too would have said, these verses are a miracle just on their own. But the Quran's manner of exposition in making understood an instruction is so wonderful, subtle, and fluent that the most simple ordinary person, easily comprehends a most profound truth from the way it explains it. Yes, the Quran of miraculous exposition simply and clearly teaches most abstruse truths in a way that caresses the view of people in general and neither hurts their feelings, nor irritates their minds, nor tires them. Just as when speaking with a child, childish words are used, in the same way, the Quranic styles come down to the level of those it addresses, called in the terminology of the scholars of theology, divine condescension to the mind of man.
So let me say the Arabic of it here in the original. تنزلات إلهية إلى عقول البشر. تنزلات إلهية إلى عقول البشر.
It addresses them in that way. Through comparisons in the form of allegories, it makes an illiterate common person understand abstruse divine truths and dominical mysteries which the minds of the most learned philosophers cannot rise to. For example, by means of a comparison, the verse the most merciful one on the throne established.
And this is in Arabic. Where is it?
الرحمن على العرش استوى.
Yes. Yes, that verse. Yes. So we can go in. Surah 20, verse 5.
Depicts divine dominicality as a kingdom and the degree of that dominicality as that of a king seated on the throne of his sovereignty and exercising his rule. Indeed, as the speech of the all-glorious creator of the universe, the Quran proceeds from the ultimate degree of his dominicality, passes over all the other degrees guiding those who rise to them, and passing through 70,000 veils. It looks to each and illuminates it. It scatters its radiance and spreads its light to the thousands of levels of those it addresses, the understanding and intelligence of whom are all different. Although it has lived through ages and centuries whose capacities are all different and has broadcast its meaning to this great extent, it has not lost an iota of its perfect youth and juvenility. And retaining its total freshness and delicacy, it teaches every ordinary person in a most easy, skillful, and comprehensible manner. Whatever aspect of a wonder-displaying book which thus teaches, convinces, and satisfies with the same lesson, the same words, numerous levels of people whose understanding and degrees are all different, whatever aspect of such a book is studied, a flash of miraculousness will surely appear.
Shall we just read a bit more and finish this section and then go back?
In short, just as when some words of the Quran, like all praise and thanks be to God, are recited,
Alhamdulillah in Arabic.
they fill a cave, which is the ear of a mountain. In the same way that they fill the tiny ears of a fly, so too the Quran's meanings satisfy ears like mountains in the same way that with the same words they teach and satisfy tiny simple minds like a fly. For the Quran calls to belief all the levels of man and jinn. It teaches the sciences of belief to all. In which case, the most lowly of the common people kneels shoulder to shoulder with the most elevated of the elite, and together they listen to the Quran's teachings and benefit from them. That is to say, the Holy Quran is a heavenly repast at which the thousands of different levels of minds, intellects, hearts, and spirits find their nourishment. their desires are fulfilled and their appetites are satisfied. In fact, numerous of its doors remain closed and are left to those who will come in the future. If you want an example of this category, from beginning to end, the Quran forms examples of it. All the Quran students and those who listen to its teachings, like the interpreters of the law, the veracious ones, the Islamic philosophers, the sages, the scholars of jurisprudence and scholars of theology, the saintly guides of those seeking knowledge of God, the spiritual poles of the lovers of God, the learned and exacting scholars, and the mass of Muslims unanimously declare, we understand thoroughly what the Quran teaches us. In short, flashes of the Quran's miraculousness sparkle in the category of making understood and instruction, just as they do in the other categories.
So the Arabic for making understood, ifham, and instruction is ta'lim, which is in the original, it says ifham and ta'lim. So it's another category that we are looking at today. And within the category, there is miraculousness, Imam Nursi is saying. Let's come back to page 141. So the Quran's manner of exposition in making understood and instruction, ifham and ta'lim, is so wonderful, subtle, and fluent that the most simple, ordinary person easily comprehends a most profound truth. So these are very profound truths, but the Quran makes it accessible to a simple-minded person, simple, ordinary person, in a way that doesn't hurt their feelings, doesn't overwhelm them, doesn't bother them, irritate them. And then he said this is related to تنزلات الإلهية على عقول البشر. Divine تنزلات, the divine like, comes down to our level of understanding. There is this little YouTube series you may have seen. They pick a topic, let's say quantum physics or gravity or something, and then they invite an expert in that field, and that expert is going to talk about that concept to 5 different people. One is a child, like, and then maybe an older student, and then an undergraduate, and a graduate student, and a fellow expert. So, like, she goes through the same concept, but expresses it to these audiences. And I think in one of the halakas in the past, it was said that you have to be really expert in something to be able to express it in a way that is very simple. Because if you know it so well, then you can really bring it down to a child's level and explain it in that level. But if you barely understand the subject, it's very hard to simplify it or come up with a way of expressing its gist to somebody who's not in the field at all. So it is actually a sign of expertise to be able to do that. And here it's saying that the Quran comes down to human level to our understanding. We're extremely limited, but it is expressing very profound realities to our understanding. So the whole Quran itself is actually تنزلات إلهية على العقول البشر. God coming down to our level of understanding, expressing in the language and the way we can understand. And here it is saying, in addition, within the human level, there are different understandings. There are people who are very profound, and then there are people who are very simple-minded, and all the grades in between. And the Quran speaks to every single one of them and expresses the gist of the message, all of them. And that, Imam Nursi is claiming, that is part of Quran's miraculousness. And then there's an example.
It's saying that no one goes empty-handed. Like whoever comes to Quran gets something from the divine. So according to their level of understanding, their intellect or their exposure and their environment. So even the era they are in, like this century, the last century. So it unfolds to them according to place, time, and according to that. Like it's so many things were not were veiled before us, like universe and everything, like for past centuries. But now when we see the same ayahs, they are different for us as it would have been for people maybe during Prophet's time, and but everyone connected to them at their own. Yeah.
And then there's this, as an example, it gives this. Again, this is Surah 20, verse 5. So maybe we read from the beginning, since it's verse 5, Surah Taha. It says, Taha, ما أنزلنا أستعوذ بالله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى. It was not to distress you that we sent down the Quran to you. إلا تذكرة لمن يخشى, but as a reminder for those who hold God in awe. من يخشى. تنزيلا ممن خلق الأرض والسماوات العلى. A revelation coming down from the one who created the earth and the high heaven. Ar-Rahman ala al-Arsh istawa. The Lord of Mercy established on the throne. Ar-Rahman ala al-Arsh istawa. So what do we understand from this explanation here?
SubhanAllah. Isra, can you go back to the ayat?
Yeah.
And scroll up a little bit. This just really, it just strikes my heart based on what we had just discussed from last week. First of all, to start with Taha, I know Dr. Yamina, mashallah, shared a very meaningful tafsir on these disjointed letters. And we talked about it again last week as well, because it was in my notes. Even if I don't understand right now, last week, Dr. Yamina was saying, even when I don't understand, because we don't understand Taha, like we don't know exactly what these letters are intended to mean. And I mean, there's meanings upon meanings upon meanings. We know, since the speaker is the one who's beyond. Dr. Yamina was saying, even if I don't understand what's happening in my life right now, to bring revelation back to my life, I should still say yes to it. I should still keep if I'm doing the work and the intention that we talked about in the review, my heart and my chest in this expansive state and say, yes, I'm not going to resist, or yes, I'm not going to judge and blame and complain. Yes to whatever is happening. It is a tanzil. Whatever is happening in my life is amr. It is decree, because we study divine decree. And it was a great series. For anyone who didn't catch it, it's on our YouTube channel. I am limited. I can't know the meaning, the full meanings. It's supposed to bring me back to my ubudiyah of who I am. I don't know and I can't know. I have to remember that I'm the asker who is always needy, breathing into me right now. And I have to trust this one that is organizing this entire universe with so much taqdeer and so much precision and so much measurement down to the percentage of oxygen coming into me right now. And I have to trust this reality so much. I have to trust this being, and this is the process, the tarbiyah, in order to stay steadied, because the earth is going to shake, and that's the promise. Your life is going to shake, and that's a promise. Again, then the next ayah is anzalna alayka. So there's again nuzul is coming. This, and you just said in the tanazzulat ilahiyya ila uqul al-bashar. So there's an emphasis on being conscious of tanzil alayka, upon you, alayka, not upon your aql, not only upon your whole being. Al-Quran, litashqa. The purpose is litashqa. And Dr. Yamina, you know better. I don't even want to try.
Ma, there is a negation at the end. It is not litashqa.
So what is litashqa? To distress you.
Yeah, it is not. He is not sending
Okay.
us to make it hard. It's the opposite.
So because
life without the Quran is really hard.
Because when I don't understand what's happening in my life, I'll immediately contract. Oh, like I feel like that's yani. And so the Quran, because we're linking it to the following verses of what Dr. Yamina shared last week, is like the heart has to learn, the body has to learn to be in the state of awe. It has to be, we're training our being, which includes our body, which again, if you're like me and your neck is tight or your back is tight or your shoulders, because we're constantly holding this contracted state or this tension somewhere in my body. And so the Quran is teaching our body, telling us like, this tanzeel that's coming on you is not so that you can be distressed. And then the next ayah, Isra, إِلَّا تَذْكِرَةً لِمَنْ يَخْشَى. So it's only going to remind you if you are doing the work to be in a state of khashya, which is what I was going to say. I mean, if you can share more about that, because I feel like it talks more about what we were saying about delighting in awe, letting your body stay in a state of awe, and then marrying the dhikr with this state of yakhsha. And then again, the next emphasis is tanzeel again, tanzeelan. It struck my memory because we were just talking about tanazzulat ilahiyya. تفضلي Dr. Yamina.
Go ahead, inshallah. That's good.
يعني تنزيلا ممن خلق الأرض. يعني so the ayah right before this talks about yakhsha. So it's only a tadhkira if you are doing the work intending to be mindful of the one creating, because Ramadan is especially for taqwa, to gain consciousness, and consciousness results in awe. Yani your body, as soon as you feel the breeze, and you remember whoever is sending this right now is the one who's perfect, who calculated everything, who's taking care of me so perfect. Look at how he's taking care of these birds and these chickens and making them fly in a particular way out of infinite power. And this is the one reminding me right now that my life is being taken care of, my breath is being taken care of, my loved ones are being taken care of, the chaos in my life is being taken care of, the chaos in the world is being taken care of by the same Rabb. مِمَّنْ خَلَقَ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ الْعُلَى. So it's directly bringing my intention to the khalq, looking at the existence of al-ard, the whole physical plane, with samawat al-ula. Because only when I pause and force myself to, like Dr. Mina was saying, go on that walk, Make it a walk of dhikr, and be intentional about that walk, that you're going to be intending to connect with Rabb. And not just Rabb, that everything that I'm interacting with right now is direct amr, yani direct command from this unseen realm. The flower that's about to start blossoming and blooming, the winds, or it's going to be a rainstorm soon. But there's, a whole angelic realm. Dr. Yamina reminded us in the Qadar series, and it was so profound that it shook me. Like, when we're witnessing rain and wind, it's going to be a windy day. It's a cloudy day. It's going to be raining today. I just got an alert from my phone that tomorrow I'll be prepared for intense rain. Okay. Where's the khashya? There's nothing. But if I pause, and subhanAllah, for those following also Dr. Ali's classes in the morning, we had a morning session about the Quran that was very intensely focused on how the language that we use really removes the khashya, and it's a big problem, because when we talk about the weather like that, it removes the awe completely from. So now we're unlearning that and telling ourselves, no, just go look outside and see what you're interacting with. There's angels upon angels upon angels that are in charge, and I believe we said it was Mikael that was in charge of the natural world. Yes, okay. So when I'm the rain is not just it's raining, or the clouds are being moved. There is a whole unseen realm of and a master angel in charge of that, moving things. Like, how is this force? And last week, because the wind is picking up, or the wind is I don't even want to use that language because it removes the khashya completely, but the wind that we are going to be feeling on our skin is meant to be felt as a reminder to literally smack me in the face and say, what force is this that you're interacting with? And who's sending it? And how? How are you even feeling it right now? Like, how are you interacting with it? Because there's an angels, subhanallah,
It's all interconnected, yeah.
And because it's not even just tanzil ilahiyya, and my question was going to be like ila aqul al-bashar, because it's true, it speaks to the aql, but khashya is not a aql word. I understand aql to be like to the reasoning faculty, but this ayah and if we can go back to the ayat real quick, the ayah that you mentioned, and right before, al-Rahman is the conclusion. We should, once we interact with for looking at the existence of the ard and the samawat, we should Ar-Rahman, ala al-arsh istawa, the one whose authority is operating over the grass that you're walking on, the sky that's above you, the wind that's touching you. Ar-Rahman, that's divine authority, that's divine. That divine force that you're feeling is first and foremost infinite love. Yani, whoa, I'm gonna pause there and ask Dr. Yamina, whatever comes to you. But I love the emphasis. I think there was 2 ayat that focused on the word tanzil. It didn't come down on you. So litashqa, it's not tanzil litashqa, and I think there's another nuzulan. Yeah, tanzil, for you to notice Ar-Rahman.
Dr. Yamina, did you want to say something? I mean, the تنزلات على عقل الإنسان, the first step in receiving any message is عقل, because عقل is what makes sense of what is being said. But then the next step, if it remains there, then it's not going to have an effect on our life. So what comes next is, now what are we going to do with that? He said ifham and ta'lim. So ta'limat in Arabic is instructions. If there are instructions, it means there is something to be done with this. So ifham, you have to understand in order to practice, to follow you understand and you follow the instructions in order to practice it. And generally, if it's going to remain a pure intellectual thing, it's not going to have an impact on our life, and it will remain something outside, sort of information. And it's not going to be, I won't feel like it's relevant to my life because I don't practice it. And I live my life without it. And it seems like it's okay because I'm not aware of what I'm missing. But if I follow that's why it's tadkira for those who have awe of God. So it won't be a reminder to me because I have not nurtured and cultivated that awe. So that awe that we have from time to time, that's fitri. Everyone has awe from time to time. But like having awe of God in my heart, that's something that I need to cultivate. So when I find myself fitratan, naturally something is going on and I feel awe, I need to witness it. And in order to witness it, I have to be present with it, stay with it, and recognize where it is coming from. Because otherwise it will be just, oh, like felt something either beautiful or scary or whatever. All can come from different situations. So I just recognize the situation and carry on with my life. And the awe seems to be coming, well, I don't even ask where it's coming from. But when I stop and be present with it and witness it, stay long enough to be at awe of my state, of being in awe itself is something miraculous. What's going on here? And then we realize that it's not coming from me, it is coming through me. And it can't be the beautiful sunset or this and that. Someone is communicating with me and attracting my attention. And the more we stay there, even if we don't really understand what's going on, lots of people don't understand that the Quran is teaching us all these things in details. Still, because it's in the fitrah, if we have the patience to be present, the willingness to witness, it's going to change our life, because then the body is going to learn to become familiar with that sense of awe. And when we say the words like Allah, or maybe there you say Subhanallah or something, they will be associated with that state of being. So there is the state of being, the body remembering, and then the words that we say. Because if I don't name what's going on, for instance, if there is something scary, instead of awe, I will say it's fear. And yes, it's fear, but if I'm afraid of something, it's not the same that then Allah is giving me this fear to protect me. Maybe I need to run away. Maybe I need to help. Or maybe I'm misinterpreting things. In any case, Allah is protecting me, and then it becomes awe. Subhanallah, I don't know myself and someone is protecting me. You can witness the rububiyyah. So the words that we use are second. Otherwise, because when we don't use the right words, then the nafs will start going on a endless way of making things up and scaring us even more and more despair and more fear and anxiety, and without us realizing it. That's the inner self-talk. It's only when we stop that we realize that who is talking all the time there. And there is no point in trying to stop it, because we can't. We can only replace it. And we replace it with other words. And the moment we name things,
then that inner talk stops as far as that thing is concerned. And the third one is, the third step to seal this is to act accordingly. Usually we run away from this, or it feels like, oh, like I'm not going to change my life like all at once. But that's again the nafs, shaitan, telling us this. The Prophet ﷺ says, small ibadat. Choose one thing, but do it consistently and constantly. And small thing. And Allah created us with the fitrah that when we do something, like we decide to do something and we do it, we feel happy. We feel, they call it fulfillment. We're so there is an inner reward system already in place.
Yeah.
But when we think, when we say like, I have to change everything, then we don't change anything because it's too much, because it's not fitri and it's not the way things happen. But choose one thing. Mm-hmm. For instance, staying with the all, recognizing it, making it familiar to me, so it becomes so familiar that the more it becomes familiar, the more the old ghafla associated whatever emotions, we don't need to even name them, will become more and more unfamiliar. So we're replacing bi'idhnillah, and each time recognize it and be grateful for it, alhamdulillah, and act accordingly. So here it's not only understanding, but understanding and living accordingly. That's why it becomes so important. Otherwise, okay, everyone understands al-arsh. In Arabic, it's the throne. And everyone can guess that when it's used for the creator, then it must be somehow metaphorical. I mean, even someone who doesn't understand literature or anything, the layman can guess that this is a metaphor.
But so is using that metaphor making it easier?
Yeah, because otherwise we cannot imagine, we cannot fathom the adama, the glory and the grandeur of Allah's sovereignty, His rububiyyah, and His being in control of everything. So now it's going to be left to the person, however much they know Allah, to that extent, this is going to gain meaning and become more meaningful.
SubhanAllah, we read this after every prayer also in Ayat al-Kursi. وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. His throne encompasses the heavens and the earth.
So, for instance, you have a person who knows, let's say, is an expert in astronomy and things. So he has or she has an understanding of samawat wal ard, the heavens and the earth, as much vaster than your average person. However, the average person, if they are actually applying this, following the instructions, feeling the awe, they may have more awe, and with that awe, Allah will reveal Himself to His worshipper, because to the extent that I accept and feel my powerlessness, the more as I get closer to zero, like in the state of sajda, which represents the potential ubudiyya, like I am zero, I am totally 100%, 24/7 dependent on my Rabb. To that extent, to the extent that I can feel this, I will feel the absoluteness, the all-encompassing power, his control over everything, because we all use our own self as a measure to everything else. So if I am like this, everyone else, every living being, every non-living being is totally dependent on him. This is not something that the aql, that the intellect can understand, but the heart and the soul, the ruh, can witness to, and they can only express it in going into sajda, metaphorically, whether physically and metaphorically. But someone who understands that the heavens and the earth, there are galaxies, and this galaxy is a tiny galaxy in the billions of galaxies out there. But it could be that he has the information, but that person is not feeling it in his inner life, in his soul. So actually, this description of Allah's power and his control is given to us, and then it's up to us to get the depth of the meaning or the implication of what this means. We all understand that, we all can guess that this is talking about Allah's being is in control of everything. He has power over everything. And because it's an image, it's easier to remember and to imagine. And then how much is this? That will depend on how much I surrender, how much I surrender to the reality of who I am. So that's why a layman who is
Accepting.
who is surrendering and who has piety, who practices, follows the instructions, has a relationship with his Rabb that is clearer than someone who knows a lot, but it's just information. It's not knowledge of the cognition. It's not an inner knowingness. Because what does it mean that there are billions of galaxies? Okay, so, but that number doesn't register because the human intellect, the human aql, cannot even encompass this this information, because we don't have something to compare with. It's so big that it loses its we have no point of reference, so it becomes just something vague. Yeah, it's great, and that's it. But if the one who knows more and is also someone who practices, then because he has more information, if he may start feeling the details and feeling the awe even more than your average person. He has more opportunities. But does it mean that the layman doesn't have opportunities? There are so many opportunities in the world. It's about paying attention and being willing to put this into practice. And to put this into practice, I'm willing to be at awe, and being at awe and nurturing the awe means comes at a cost to the ego that wants to claim its independence. Yes, there is Allah, Alhamdulillah, but without saying it, but there is also me. I do things, can't you see? And if anyone doesn't like what I do or what I say, I feel very bad. Like, what do you mean?
Thank you. Jazakumullah khair. This is, yeah, this is so insightful. I hope we can, as a side note, I hope we can clip these moments and have a separate, make them into a separate YouTube video. Thank you very much.
But we can feel the ta'zeem in this metaphor, in this the majaz, the metaphor of power, of authority, of the arsh. Wa istiwa, like he has full control. You can feel the azama, the mightiness. Everyone can understand this. I mean, even a child, it's in the fitra, we understand the arsh, the throne. It means the highest power, whatever the highest power is in my imagination. But it's open, it's giving, the imagination is also used, because the imagination is also being given to us to use for ubudiyah, to understand our Rabb, not to use it haphazardly to imagine other things. You find some people will take the arsh as the arsh of ilm, of nur, of, it doesn't matter. It's still, it shows what he's saying here. Because it's an open metaphor, you can use it for all different kind of qualities of the divine, as long as it makes you closer to the adama of Allah.
So, with that, inshallah, then Jazakumullah khair again. We can turn to second ray.
Wait, I had a question real quick about istawa. Is istawa, I know Dr. Amina, you mentioned full control. على العرش استوى. I'm just wondering more about istawa, because it feels like it's adding to, يعني, like you said, the ta'zim, and I missed it. Like perfecting, completing. You're muted.
Istawa is from sawa, sawaya, which is to complete, to balance something. And istawa usually is understood as to rise, to arise, to ascend, to settle, to establish. In spoken Arabic is to make things equal or balanced.
But you need
If
to
it is istawa ila, then it's to turn towards something, like to complete, to make perfect is the one the most used, at least in Algerian Arabic, to make perfect.
But it probably goes with على العرش. استوى على العرش is to kind of claim the throne or to ascend to the throne. It's kind of part of the metaphor.
Then it's subjugation. It's under the subjugation of the Rabb. It's about power. He has power over it. And also, usually in the tafsir, they say istawa ala. Not only it's about control and subjugation and power over the throne, but there is an implication that there is no physical contact to the arsh.
I see. So it's not a metaphor for, like, in the regular usage when the king,
you don't say istawa.
What do you say when the new king?
Jalasa, he sits on the throne.
Jalasa, I see. That's all. Okay, I thought istawa was a word for it.
And there is also, like, there is a meaning of ulu, of exaltation in istawa. You will find in the first tafsir, maybe I think Abdullah ibn Abbas, I think.
Istawaita here, it's also used for riding a ship. Here in the verse with Nuh عليه السلام. استوعب بالله فإذا استويت أنت ومن معك على الفلك قل الحمد لله الذي نجانا. You're boarded.
But
So it does have that literal sense, but of course it can't be literal here because Arsh is not literal also.
I'm grateful for that clarification because a few weeks ago we talked about the language and the letters and the sounds and the feelings connected to that sounds as far as, and I'm just going to simplify it now, but expansion or contraction, because we're focusing on the transformation potential of Ramadan through the Quran to bring us to a more expanded sharh state. So istawa, and I wanted just to hear more because like my heart was stirring and wanting more. Even the sound istawa like allows for this calmness and greatness and hadama, this to come over you, because if you think about again your life, if you're like my life, there's so much potential to contract and worry or concern or and then to remember complete domination, highness, balance, control that is complete and established and being overseen with oversight, with the preceding verse being خلق السماوات والأرض, like every single thing that you are perceiving. Ar-Rahman al Arsh istawa. For me, just now, that was like, okay, that was delightful. It allowed my heart to feel so light to receive
and
that
also
news.
the Rahman, it's not like, because there is already majesty, so it says Ar-Rahman. So if Rahma is everywhere, we feel like much safer.
It doesn't give you like if it was a king and who was in that power, you will be afraid. But with Rahman, it comes with so much of mercy, and it's not
love, like the
not,
Jamal and the Jalal married.
Yeah, he's not bullying you. He's not like there to punish you. He's Rahman. He's establishing. So everything is established with Rahman. Like you don't see anything without Rahman. That's how all of the creation is. He has endured that with Rahman.
In Surah Al-Baqarah, if you remember, there was istawa ila samai, thumma istawa.
Yeah,
There he turned to. So it's like a verbal phrasal verbs. First time I remember when we learned English, phrasal verbs. Well, we had learned a little bit of English, but then in England, there were lots of students who it took them a long time to understand what phrasal verb. Why would I add a particle and then it becomes another meaning? But Arab speakers, it makes sense because it's the same. You add something and can become so it's more related than in English, but still it changes the meaning. But here it's used as a metaphor, as majaz.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's different from, even literally, it's different from.
So usually
if you,
yeah, please.
Yeah, I was just noting that when they board the ship, إذا استويت. Oh, but that's all. Okay, I thought it was a different ilah. It's Arla. Okay, it's the same. Okay, never mind. Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Yamina. if you have anything to add, Dr. Yamina, please go ahead.
Sorry, an act of authority, establishing his authority, his control. That's how it's been always understood. And there are lots of, if you read in tafsir, like if you look at Zamakhshari, because Zamakhshari sometimes goes into the details of the language, then he will not only do that, but also tell you that istawa is better than using this. He could have used other words and it wouldn't mean exactly the same. Here there is this istiwa is like taking hold of everything. If you know a little bit of Arabic, istawa is taking control of. But taking control in a chaotic way? No. In a way that you order. This istiwa makes things balanced, ordered, perfection. So there are so many layers actually, subhanallah. But as it says in the beginning, you don't have to understand all the layers of the language and this and that. That's what he's saying. Everyone still understand that Allah is in charge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But someone who studies the language even more will get, it's like when you're reading a poem and you get taste even more, so you are more at awe and you love it more, alhamdulillah. But even if you don't, Allah is still Rahman and he chooses to speak in a way that everyone at whatever level they are still gets something, still benefits.
Yeah, something in a substantial way that we get the gist of it. Profound realities are made accessible to us. Mashallah.
I want to say that when we're talking about the heart and this way of being cultivated through the Quran, this ayah really, with today's halaqah and all that we discussed, alhamdulillah, my heart feels so calm, Allahi subhanallah. Like the balance between starting with Ar-Rahman, which is all-encompassing, vast, pervasive, tender, compassionate care and love, is على العرش استوى. يعني عرش السماوات والأرض has, and I love what Yamina said, Dr. Yamina, when you said taking hold of everything. Allah, that felt so good. Like it reminded me of تبارك الذي بيده الملك, taking hold of everything. And then so why would you not surrender? If someone's telling you, if the one is telling you that he's holding everything with perfect authority and balance and all
that's
the words.
another excellent example, right? I mean, بيده الملك, like in his hand, it's a kind of a very, like a visual, it's not literally hand, obviously, but you realize like everything is in his hands. You're like, wow, that's really makes that profound very accessible.
Especially in times of chaos and you feel lost and who is in control. I definitely am not me, but like are malevolent forces in control, then it's really scary. And then suddenly Allah is in control and Ar-Rahman. Rahmah everywhere, alhamdulillah. Because we're not only worried about ourselves, you hear stories that like you feel like you're going to lose your sleep over people you never heard of, but so you say, فَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ حَافِظًا وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. May Allah be with everyone and His rahmah with everyone.
So then, on that note, we perhaps pause here without starting second ray. We'll leave off here. And inshallah, we'll continue from second ray next time. Jazakumullah khair, Dr. Yamina.
Next Sunday is Eid, inshallah.
So yeah, maybe we take a break next week.
And then
And
start
then-
in the evening.
Yeah, and then we come back. Shall we come back to Friday evening? Maybe we'll have a little contemplation on that as well. Let me stop the recording.
So
And also, before I forget, I wanted to mention Yusra is here as well. I think Yusra helped put the Receiving Nur Daily awareness onto the app format. Jazakallah khair, Yusra. And we want to, if you got a chance to download it from App Store, it's free. You just need to search it with the name Receiving Nur. And then if you have Android, then there's a link in the newsletter, also in the WhatsApp, that you can fill that out. We need at least 12 people to use it on
I
Android.
think Isra, thank you. I mean, I
Right,
have gladly made it. It's, inshallah, it will be useful for everyone. So it has passed the Android testing. I think it is about to be published. I don't know why, but for Android, the procedure takes very long. But I can just share a QR code that anyone can use regardless of their platform. So, and then if they just scan the QR code, they can download the app, inshallah. I think it should be, for Android, it should be finalized hopefully today, tomorrow, I don't know.
Yeah, the reason, Jazakallah khair, that's good news. And the reason we're mentioning is for two reasons. One, if you have had any feedback, please share with us of using this app. And then the other is it can go beyond Ramadan, because it is the daily affirmation of our Ubudiyya, our gratitude, and then focusing on our daily prayers and how present we were on those prayers. That checklist can happen every day. So you started it in such a format that beyond Ramadan, you can actually see the entire year as well and keep logging if you like. Inshallah, it's useful. So if you have any feedback, please feel free to share. So we're gonna stop here for now, inshallah.
Actually, if you have used it and if you feel, it could have worked better in another way, any kind of feedback, or if you found any bugs or something, let us know. So inshallah, throughout the year, we can keep using it, and next Ramadan, we can improve it by next Ramadan.
You can update
So
it.
I'm trying to log on right now. I have an iPhone, so it is